Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. This time around, it is Pressure Gauge for the Atari 2600. This is a homebrew game made by John K. Harvey, aka Propane 13, from the year 2000. And this game is actually based on the pressure gauge sections in Steamwood in Brave Fencer Musashi for the Sony PlayStation 1. Kind of amazing that all this time later, you can still find this game if you know where to look. It's still floating around out there somewhere. And I was able to get my hands on this, and I was able to play it. Game's pretty simple. You only play it with the fire button. No waggling of the joystick required. And it's really simple, but you may find yourself pretty well addicted to it. If you press the game select switch before you start, you get some brief credits and these color gradients. Programmed by John K. Harvey. Just simple text crawl on the Atari 2600. Some demo scene stuff. Looks like something out of the demo scene. I like this. It's a nice touch. This is all that the game select switch does, as there is just one game mode. I believe this game is one player only. And the game starts as soon as you reset. So we need to get our leftmost gauge here to where that tiny rectangle on the far left is. When we do this correctly, we raise the gauge in the middle. If we do it wrong, the gauge in the middle lowers. And the gauge on the far right is our timer. Oh, good grief. Thankfully, the timer goes all the way back up. If you complete a round, I am trying really hard to concentrate here. And just my luck, because I actually get past level 9. On this one try, and I'm not even trying. Well, that was a trip. Wow. So, that is how a game usually goes. I ran out of time there. I really don't know what to say, and I really didn't even know what to say as I was playing that either, because I didn't think I would get so far. That was really unexpected. So, I might as well go into an explanation of more things that happened. We started out slow with level 1. If you're wondering what the number at the bottom of the screen is, it's your current level number. And by the time you reach level 4 and 5, the gauge gets really fast. If the leftmost gauge goes all the way at the top, I believe your middle gauge completely resets, which you don't want. So your timing and your reflexes both have to be really good when the leftmost gauge is really fast. So that way you can press it when the top of the leftmost gauge is in line with the tiny line, the tiny rectangle over to the left of that leftmost gauge when you press the button. Basically, you have to get the left gauge to a certain level, which is indicated by the tiny rectangle, and that's when you press the button. It's easy on the slower speeds, not so much on the fast speeds. That way, you can easily raise the middle gauge up before the gauge on the right lowers all the way down, because the gauge on the right is your timer. I keep saying left gauge and leftmost gauge. They're basically the left gauge. When you reach level 6, you may notice the screen blinking. That's because lights are flickering on and off. And this happens for levels 6 through 10. Every 10 levels following level 10, they start like level 1, but you have new surprises to unlock. For instance, the tiny rectangle all the way to the left is in different positions starting from level 11 onwards. That's why it kept moving. The game starts moving that rectangle around, changing the range in which you have to, or rather changing the range where you have to press the button to raise the gauge in the middle, just to make things a little more difficult and a little more interesting. And of course, you will have rounds and levels after that where the lights flicker, just like on 6 through 10. And you just really have to be able to adapt within seconds. That is probably going to be the best game of this that I will probably ever play. And if I were to restart now, yeah, I would have to restart. That's how I get the game going again and turn this music off in order to start again. The leftmost gauge is the one that we're controlling. The middle gauge is the one we're raising up. And the one on the right is the timer. The tiny rectangle on the left, past to the left of the left gauge, is where we need to press the button. I do like the fact that you have the color gradients here. That's pretty fun. And yes, the lights are indeed flickering. I am probably never going to get past level 9. Not with that attitude. Alright, let's try one more. Again, I may not make it past level 9, but we'll see. Either way, I'm kind of satisfied. With what I had going. with that first game. And there we go. As long as you keep a good rhythm, you can make it to the higher levels. Notice that the tiny rectangle is changing positions after level 10, just to make things a little more interesting. And apparently, oh Lord. Wow. I just couldn't get a thing going there. That got fast. So all the levels after 11, you still have the same speed variations going on. And you still have lights flickering from 16 to 20. But that tiny rectangle that dictates where you need to press the button, it does change position to make things more interesting. And that is basically it for Pressure Gauge. This is definitely one of those arcade style games, much like those that I played on Atari 2600 and BBC Micro, that you can play for like a few minutes at the very least. And what else can I say? It's a very simple premise, but it's actually pretty challenging, and it's actually pretty good. I'm surprised I was able to make it past level 9, where I usually keep failing. Not once, but twice. I'm surprised I was able to get that going. So I'm pretty satisfied with my progress with this game. So I might as well go ahead and give this game a mini review. Graphics, what you see is what you get. But it's not very distracting, even with the color cycling, and it works. After a little while, you can easily tell what everything is supposed to be and do. So there's that. Sound and music, also what you hear is what you get. You do get the rushing of sound going up when you do what you're supposed to, and you get the sound of something rushing downwards when you fail. And of course, there's this music that plays when you get the game over. I'm surprised it never stops. Controls, very simple, but I had no problem with them. You press the button when the gauge on the left is lined up with any part of the tiny triangle to the left of that gauge. That's it. Once you figure that out, and you get used to the speeds, and you get used to timing and reflexes, and you get a pattern going, it gets easier, it gets more interesting, and it's a lot of fun. Replay value, your mileage may vary on this. You could probably play this for like a few minutes tops, but if you know what you're doing, you can get good at this and reach some pretty high levels. If I remember correctly, John K. Harvey's personal record, as he has mentioned on Atari Age, where he made this game available initially, is 54. Yeah, good luck getting to that. And finally, should you get it, it's a simple little homebrew game. But despite how everything looks and sounds, it plays well and it's pretty good. I had fun with this one. I think the only problems that I can picture anyone really having with this game is that the game looks a little too simple. But I feel like it works in the game's favor, because you don't really have anything distracting you. You can really get into the game quickly. And maybe this droning music when you get a game over. But other than that, not much. So this is definitely one homebrew game to get your hands on, if you can find it. It's definitely worth playing. But anyway, this has been Pressure Gauge, or Let's Play Pressure Gauge, for the Atari 2600. Hopefully I will be back with another game. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be bad. Maybe it'll be somewhere in between. Who knows? Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care. Stay safe. Thanks for watching, and see y'all later.